What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right, let's talk about Terence Crawford and Amir Khan in a fight that is rumored to be in the works and close to being finalized, and what that means for the welterweight division, whether or not it's a good fight or not, and just talk about that particular situation, man, because I think that the welterweight division, just like the heavyweight division, those are the two signature. Wow, right when I do it, phone. Um, those are the two signature division in boxing, and and I think at the top of those divisions, they're the divisions with the most talent, and or yeah, I think that they're that, and maybe 154 as well are the ones with the most talent at the top of the division. And Terence Crawford is clearly one of the most gifted boxers in the world. And but he has a bit of an issue with the fact that he's represented by Top Rank, and the rest of the welterweights are represented by Al Heyman and the PBC. So Terence Crawford has a limited amount of opponents that he can take if he is not able to, through Bob Arum or through Todd DeBuff, negotiate deals with those top level fighters over on the PBC. But this pay-per-view event, if it is pay-per-view, I think is a good step forward towards making that happen, right? So that's what I'm going to talk about in this video, and then I'll talk about what I think about the actual fight. Now, before I do that, though, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified when we release more videos. And also, I hope you accept my invitation to attend the live streams that we do in the Monday through Friday in the mornings, right after Trail Boxing Talk, usually around 10:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. So here's the first part of it, right? First part of it is this. Is this fight with Amir Khan a good fight as far as what's going on in the ring? And I would say that I'm not big on the fight. And for Terence Crawford, I think it is as far as the reputation, his reputation as a great boxer and fighting top-notch competition. I think that this doesn't do, that it's a lose-lose proposition for him as far as the quality of opponent that Amir Khan is. Because Amir Khan is a good enough fighter. Like, the biggest problem that Amir Khan has is his chin. But other than that, he's a very solid fighter. I think he's clearly a better fighter than Jose Ben. I wouldn't say clearly, but I think he's a better fighter than Jose Benavidez as far as his skill level goes. I do believe he was an Olympic silver medalist, so clearly this guy knows how to box. And he can, over the course of the fight, give Terence Crawford some things to think about. And if he gives Terence Crawford, he takes Terence Crawford the distance, and he gives Terence Crawford, awkward moments, then in the mouths of Terence Crawford detractors, that's going to sully his reputation. That could provide fuel to, provide fuel to the fire of the narrative that he's not really fought a lot of top level competitions. And look, he struggled with Amir Khan, and Amir Khan has been knocked out several times in his career. He just got, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that he just got knocked down, and he might have been knocked down in his last fight that he wound up winning. But his chin, as you know, is just absolutely positively not the best, right? So that's my take on the actual fight. Now, as far as if Terence Crawford were to go the distance with Amir Khan, right? If he knocks out Amir Khan, just walks in there, has 2 good rounds, waits, just walks him down, and And if he winds up knocking him out in the first 3 rounds, just walks through him, then, he's not going to get a lot of credit because, that had happened to Amir Khan before, right? So those are the two sides of the fight coin, right? On one side, if Amir Khan looks good, then Terence Crawford fought um a bum, right? Or not a bum, but a guy that, has been beaten several times, clearly not on his not clearly not the best dude out there. Questionable about if his name wasn't Amir Khan, that whether he would deserve a shot at the WBO title or not. So that side, and then if he winds up and knocks him out, just walks through him, then it was like, okay, yeah, he was supposed to do that. That's Amir Khan. Now, the truth of the matter, though, is for me, I think that it might be one of um the better fights that is available for him to make. And it's clearly shown to me that Terence Crawford he's trying to grow his name. He's trying to look for big names and guys that might be able to, add to his legacy. And, Amir Khan it's not bad in that regard. For me. Now, the good thing about this, though, for me, in my opinion, is that it's rumored, if the rumor's true, that this is going to be on pay-per-view. And Bob Arum just said something the other day like pay-per-view is never going to go away. It's here to stay. Something like that. Something to that effect. That made me think, all right, well, that's Bob Arum. So, he's going to be pitching it. And if it is on pay-per-view, I think that's a good thing because if it does well, and I will support it 100 miles an hour, man, I'm telling you, I will support that pay-per-view. That would mean that Terence Crawford would have something as if he can put significant pay-per-view numbers up, even if they're less than Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence Jr. If he can put significant pay-per-view numbers up, right? Because he's already got excellent ratings. His ratings are good. I think the 2 million, he did over 2 million for the Jose Benavidez fight. That I think that was the number one most viewed fight in America in 2018. So, but that's really not going to do anything when you're talking about, who has the most, quote unquote star power, because if it's on free TV and the people on the PBC side have the ability to go on to pay-per-view with either Fox pay-per-view, Showtime pay-per-view, if they have those options available to them, then there's not much in it it's not much in it for them to go over to ESPN to fight. But if Terence Crawford and Amir Khan can show that they can really sell some pay-per-view, some good numbers on pay-per-view, then it might entice some of the people from the PBC or give them more give more leverage at the negotiation table, right? And I think that would be the best thing for boxing, definitely. Other than the clearing out, all the nonsense going on in the heavyweight division, I think that would be about the best thing that could happen for boxing. Because the truth of the matter is, for me, in my opinion, I guess I'm gonna try my absolute best to just, it's my opinion. I think Terence Crawford is a very, very special fighter. And I really enjoy watching him fight. I think he's incredibly highly skilled, talented, intelligent in the ring. And it is a real pleasure to see him fight. I think the same thing for Errol Spence. I actually, now that I think this month Keith Thurman is coming back, man. I'm hoping that Keith Thurman is looking good and that as soon as, he gets in the ring, has a fight or two, defends his belt a couple times, looks good doing it, that people will then say, all right, man, man, he's a serious threat too. We want to see him with Terence Crawford. We want to see him with Errol Spence. If Mikey Garcia does well, Mikey Garcia is going to be leaving the welterweight division anyway, so I guess it really doesn't matter too much for Mikey Garcia. I doubt very much that he's staying there. He's going to go back down to 135, 140 or whatever. But if Terence Crawford, to have those guys all fight each other really can be, the closest thing to it could take the welterweight division back to when the last time that the welterweight division was really good, in my opinion, was Oscar De La Hoya, Felix Trinidad, Shane Mosley, Vernon Forrest. I think Mayorga had a couple fun moments in the middle of that too. Then the cats went up to 154 in the middleweight and mixed it up with Bernard Hopkins. That was a very, very good time in boxing. And I could see how if these guys fought each other in 147 and then made their way up to 154 and then some of them up to 160, that we could repeat a lot of those very good fights that we got in, the mid 90s, early 2000s out of the welterweights and the 154 pounders. And hopefully, Terence Crawford doesn't wind up being the Winky Wright of that crew, right? Where Winky Wright is one of the best fighters of any of those guys. And, he never got the Oscar De La Hoya fight, And so it is, and Oscar De La Hoya clearly was the big cash guy in that era of welterweight, middleweight, 154 pound fighters. So, the long and short of it is this. I'm okay with this Amir Khan fight because I think it's going to be a challenging. I think that it will be a challenging fight for Terence Crawford while it lasts. Terence Crawford has not really shown devastating power at 147 pounds. But with Amir Khan, I don't think you need devastating power at 147 pounds because I don't think Danny Garcia got devastating power either. And, we saw what happened there when he clipped him. So, it is what it is. We'll see. I hope that a Terence Crawford fight gets announced soon. If it's on pay-per-view, hey, cool. I will support it, man. I will support Terence Crawford. Shout out, Team Bud Crawford. I'll put my money in the pot. And I think it's something that he deserves, man. This is a guy that is in my opinion, he's the best number one pound for pound fighter in the world, in my opinion. And that's from what he did at 135 to 140 and then, moving up into 147. But there are there's some fairly legitimate arguments about, the competition that he's faced, even though I do believe that you could make that argument for anybody, with the exception of the only person I don't think that is harder for me to make it's easiest to defend a resume argument with Canelo Alvarez because of all the names and the people that he's fought. But even there, you can talk about weight classes, you can talk about the Charlos, you can do that. So that argument's always going to be there. But, there wouldn't be any argument there if he was to fight Sean Porter, if he was to beat Sean Porter, or if he used to fight Errol Spence Jr., if he used to fight Keith Thurman, there was a live stream that I was listening to where people were going back and forth about whether or not Joe Frazier was or should be considered a Hall of Fame fighter, if he didn't have those fights against Muhammad Ali. And my thought was, that's an interesting question, but he had them. And it was those magnificent fights that punched his ticket into the Hall of Fame, punched his ticket into to the minds of heavyweight boxing fans from now until the end of the heavyweight boxing division. When you have the great fights, when you fight the great fighters and you're able to pull that off during your era, that's what happens with your name. That's truly legacy, right? Not this stuff where you're trying to figure out who you fight now. And, I really just care about legacy now. Legacy is gained because of the best fights that not the number of wins that you have, right? Because I would say, Joe Calzaghe doesn't have the most win. He was undefeated, had a lot of wins. Nobody beat him. But what's his legacy? Is anybody, really, stomping up and down about the great legacy of Joe Calzaghe? Of course not. He's a very, very good fighter, very entertaining fighter, very talented fighter. But you have a guy like Joe Frazier who lost to people, but yet his name is higher in the list of boxers than Joe Calzaghe is because of the level of fighters that he fought, right? Fighting people in their prime, fighting Muhammad Ali, coming off of his, early 70s, but fighting George Foreman, right? Getting picked up off the ground, man. That dude showed a lot of character going back for that whooping. You know what I mean? And then coming off of that and giving the guy that beat Joe Frazier, that beat George Foreman, giving him a hell of a fight for the third fight, So anyway, it is what it is, and I'm wishing the best for Terence Crawford. And with that, I'm out. Peace.